Welcome back to Newsday. For over 2 years now, Edo State in southern Nigeria has been governed by former investment banker Godwin Obaseki under the platform of the People's Democratic Party. Incidentally, the structures of democratic governance have been mostly distorted within that time as a result of a long-running battle between him and majority of the members of the State House of Assembly. The crisis had led to the non-inauguration of 14 of the members elect of the House of Assembly, who have just renewed their battle to take their seats and represent their constituencies in the state legislature. And joining us now to discuss what is being done to resolve the situation is Washington Osifo, one of the exiled lawmakers. Welcome to the program. All right, so let me quickly start by asking you how far you've actually gone in your quest to be sworn in.
Well, first, let me correct an impression from your opening remarks. It is not really a renewed battle. It has been a battle that started right from the blast of the whistle, where the governor, in his wisdom, decided to do what he did that kept us away from the House. It was a deliberate effort to keep us away from the House, and he has held on to that. The court is the place where common people like us, we go to seek redress when we think that our rights are being trampled upon. Right from the day he shot us out, we went to court, and it has been a court. And this is 2 years, 8 months, going to the 9th month. Our tenure is winding down. 2023, another round of elections are here again, and our seats that we already occupied that this governor has refused to allow us to be sworn in is already being contested for by either ourselves or other persons, or some of us who also intend to go upstairs, you know. So at some point, 14 of us and the Edo people, and in fact, the generality of the population of the world, those who have respect for the rule of law and democracy, felt embarrassed. And they still feel very embarrassed. And I think that the actions of Godwin Obaseki, governor of Edo State, is not as embarrassing to us these days as the non-committal of those who represent the arm of government who should ordinarily defend and protect the rights of people and also defend democracy, which is, of course, the judiciary. It is most embarrassing that an office that is tenured for 4 years, and those in the judiciary are deliberately conniving or collaborating with the governor to hold democracy down. So for me, it is not the man who does wrong, you know, that has offended us much as it is today. It is those who have the responsibility to resolve it, see to it that is done, especially when they cannot pretend that they are not part of the society, but they have connived, they have colluded, and they continue to do all of that to hold democracy down and keep us away from government. It will be interesting to note that for 2 years and 9 months running down the line that we have been in court, this matter has not been heard. This matter has not been heard.
All right, Washington,
So permit me to shift blame, and indeed he has.
Permit me to jump in at this point and find out from you, because we know that reports actually have it that you and 14 others, or you and 13 others, have gone to your party chairman, talking about Dr. Iyorchia Ayu. What was the outcome of that particular meeting, and what were the resolutions that were drawn from that particular meeting on the way forward?
Again, let me also correct you. I am a member of the All Progressives Congress.
Okay.
I am not a member of the People's Democratic Party. So Dr. Iyorchia Ayu, most respected national chairman of the PDP, is not my chairman. But he is a Nigerian, and he should be bothered, like every other responsible person, when democracy in any part of Nigeria is indeed trampled upon as it is in Edo State today. So we were not voted to represent our constituency, our party. We were voted to represent our constituency, irrespective of the political parties you belong to, whether PDP, APC, or even non-political activists or political associates. So we are voted to represent the people. We are voted to make good laws for the good governance of Edo State. The reason why there are not absence of good governance today is because there are absence of good laws in Edo State. A society cannot do better than the laws that are provided. And legislators who do not know what they are doing are liabilities to democracy. And that's exactly what is happening in Edo today. Non-existing Edo House of Assembly, masquerade, or few persons masquerading as members of a State House Assembly, who has turned themselves into the apron string of the executive arm. The clear absence of control of the executive arm of government today has brought in recklessness in governance, and that is what we see. And like I said, and I will insist, with the judicial arm of government colluding and conniving with them to ensure that democracy is being trampled upon. So, which is an embarrassment. So, for me and for the 14 of us, for the 13 colleagues, and even those who are sympathetic towards our cause and perhaps our constituencies, they are disappointed very much at the governor because he orchestrated what has happened. You know, but even more today, more at the judicial arm of government, who, despite what we filed, you know, the governor is quick to say, I am not the one holding them back. And his apologies are saying, we are not the one holding them back. The question is that if we are in court to ask that we should be allowed, why are we in court? We are in court to ask that the governor should allow us to go, having won an election, to allow us to work for our people. Why are we, what is he doing with us in court? Although he's saying to the people, because he has the instrument of media, you know, to push lies and fabricate lies, he is in court with us, telling us that he will not allow us to go in court. Assuming today, he comes to court, even when we are saying we are in court to ask him to allow us to come in, and he says today, he comes to court that I don't have issues with you. I am not challenging your coming in. It will mean that there will be no issue. If we are in court, it means that the governor is holding his ground through his stooges to ensure that they continue to ensure that they breathe on the neck of the judicial arm of government to keep us down. Unfortunately, like I told you, there is an affidavit of urgency filed together with this case over 2 years and 8 months ago. It will interest you to know, I repeat, it has not been heard anywhere. When is it going to be heard if it's not now? And like I said, politics is around the corner. Elections are around the corner. People are already jostling to contest either against us or if we are going to other seats for this same position that is winding down. The governor won, and he was sworn in just like us. We were there. We helped him to win election when we were in APC. 24 members of the All Progressives Congress won to one seat. He selected powers that he doesn't have to place minority over and above majority. And it is most embarrassing. I must also tell you, we are most embarrassed by even the conduct of our party. I'm telling you. So that's why I said it is neither a case of APC or a case of PDP. It's a case of democracy. Democracy is more solid. Democracy is the reason why political parties are founded. They are the organs through which democracy thrives. The absence of internal democracies will certainly mean that there is no people, and when there is no people, there are no nation. What is happening in Edo today is a travesty of justice being washed by a deliberate, perhaps connivance of some leaders of APC at the national, particularly at the national level, and PDP, who are also at somewhere at the state level, conniving to ensure that Edo State House of Assembly, as it were, is held down. Okay. We are not happy, and that is exactly what it is.
Okay, so I want to gauge your thoughts regarding those that actually criticize you and say you are responsible for your current predicament. Because one of the things that they say is that the 14 lawmakers elect are basically accused for abandoning the inauguration and listening also to your godfather, who, they haven't specifically said or mentioned, and also for being absent from House proceedings for as much as I think for the mandatory 181 days. When you hear things like that, how do you react to your critics, and how do you react to some of these allegations?
Well, it is very simple. You are a member of the Fourth Estate of the realm as a journalist. Will it not be illogical and standing on the head of truth to say that you put yourself forward for a position? You contested within your political party with numerous persons who were as qualified as yourself to run for this office. By the grace of God and by the choice of the people, within your party, you were given the nomination. You went ahead against other political parties, spent time, spent emotion, spent money to run for the election, and eventually God gave you victory. Will it be logical to say that having gone through those races for over 3 years, then you will stay away from the House? And that is why I asked you questions. Enough of this playing politics. You see, politics is life. And until and unless we get it right, nothing can go forward. And I tell you, the governor has the instrument, to finance media. And he's churning out lies, playing politics of I don't know. It's a very backward politics, and I tell you, it puts very bitter taste in on the tongue of everybody, those who truly love democracy. Unfortunately, those who churn out those lies and help him to fabricate those lies are people who, outside the closet, they tell themselves the truth that what this governor has done is bad. When he was in APC, he christened APC as a party of godfathers who themselves were against his government, and they were calling for him to bring all the monies in the vote, and the money belonged to Edo money. Money is for Edo people. Therefore, he was going to spend it. Now, when he left, he bunched down the activities of APC, the party, and everything with court, holding us down with court because he has the power to do so as governor of Edo State. Okay, he left the party. I expected all reasonableness to come in when he got to another political party, to behave as a man that would suggest to anybody that is really logical and sensible that, yes, this man said something about the members and leaders of APC, that they were the problem of his government. Today, what he's doing in his new party is even worse than what he did. It's not just a replica of what he did in APC, it's worse than what he's doing in his party. Today, Edo knows better who the real enemy is. He's not just an enemy of man. He is an enemy of democracy. And if we allow these things to continue, one day, whether he likes it or not, there is an exit date. And he will not stay beyond November 12, 2024. When he's out of office, his activities will trail him. Now, for every error made in governance, you will need at least 10 years to correct an error made in one day. You play with lives of people, and people tell him that he's doing well.
All right, we want to say many thanks to you, Mr. Washington Osifo. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and this is the much we can actually take on this crisis in the Edo State House of Assembly. We're going on a brief. Okay, when we come back from this break, we'll still come back to you, Mr. Washington Osifo, to hear from you on the fracas and the impasse in the Edo State House of Assembly. Don't go anywhere. Watching news, hear the Rise News. We've been speaking to Washington Osifo, one of the exiled lawmakers at the Edo State House of Assembly. And Washington, you've been speaking about the travails that you and some of your colleagues have suffered in the last 2 years, 9 months. But I want to find out from you, because this is a recurring issue. This is not just exclusive to Edo State. We've seen several state House of Assemblies at loggerheads with the executive arm of the state. How has this probably frustrated the modern democracy we have here in Nigeria?
Well, most unfortunate, when it happened June 17, 2019, I think I was here and several sister stations, and I warned that this was going to be bad precedence if we don't do something about it to make sure that it doesn't stand. 3 days after that day, which was about on the 20th or thereabout, it happened. It struck in Bauchi. Now, today, a few days later, that went under radar because you have an executive leader in the person of a governor who listened to wise counsel, himself being a Democrat who went off the rail, but he came back. Because a Democrat is a Democrat. Now, as compared to Edo, today he remains on board, and you are saying it is worrisome. It is really, really worrisome. Now, it tells us the kind of nation that we are. It tells us the kind of leadership we have, and it tells us the kind of governance we have, and it brings us to the point why we are taking perhaps 1 step forward and 9 steps backward. How can you pretend that whatever happens to one of the sub-national government in the federation cannot and should not affect the others? Now, Edo State is a state in Nigeria, one of the sub-national government, and we have a president, incidentally, who knows this. And I can tell you very clearly, when we reported this matter, when it just struck a few days later, we reported to Mr. President. And when he was talking to Bauchi when they visited him, I recall that he told them, he said, look, I am sending this strong message to the people of Edo State, particularly these 14 members who have been kept away from. Your people voted for you because you have integrity. You must not condescend or so low to going through the wrong channels, giving away your consciences, and doing what is wrong against democracy. And he urged the governor to, a matter of urgent importance, ensure that through democracy, these persons are sworn in to start their job. And he even went further to say, for instance, as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
all right, then,
if he had stopped the National Assembly,
Washington, I'm afraid
if he had stopped the National Assembly from being inaugurated,
all right then. I'm afraid we're going to, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. But thank you so much, Washington Osifo, leader of the lawmakers elect in Edo State House of Assembly. Many thanks for coming on the program. Thank you.